Yes, interesting times in the world of football. We've been having this conversation in the studio about the current form of Real Madrid as well as Manchester City. For City, for the first time in, you want to say close to a decade, losing 3 games back to back, not the Pep way, if you ask me. My name is Matthew Okugbe saying welcome once more. The show is Football Bankers. The top guys are in the studio. We have Bolu as well as Farouk Adetola, and together we are set to look at fixtures going down across Europe top leagues this weekend. Not to forget, the build-up to the international window is also finally upon us. Remember, the Super Eagles will be up against Benin Republic. That game will be going down in Abidjan come the 14th of this month. And together, we'll be looking at this and more as far as the world of football is concerned.
Nivea Dry Deodorant with 72-hour reliable odor protection from Dual Effect Formula for a dry and fresh skin feeling that gives you confidence every day. Nivea Dry is now available in 25 ml for 72-hour odor and sweat protection.
Yes, interesting atmosphere, you want to say, to talk football on this super amazing platform. We're looking at fixtures going down this weekend, but we told you earlier, Nigeria would be up against Benin Republic on the 14th of this month. It is the 2025 AFCON qualifier. A draw would seal Nigeria's place in the next AFCON. A win would even make it better against Benin Republic. Bolu, feels great to have you back on the show.
Good to be back again. I'm still enjoying my 3-0 win. Libya, sorry, anything you like to do, but I wish you can flog them when they play physically. But good to be back again. I already said Farouk will banter me, but even Man United are not here in the Champions League anthem for this season. Good to be back again. I definitely am going to have a beautiful ride today.
I don't know if Farouk have anything to say about that.
Well, what will I answer, Bolu? You already know exactly where the odds is hurting him. Madrid, unconstantly for the first time in a long while, losing back-to-back games in the league, in the Champions League, a big rival as well. But one thing is for sure, City are chopping it at this point in time. And funny enough, it's a man that is coming to the Premier League that is making all this happen. 4-1, City in the Champions League. It has never happened before. But it's feeling good to be here. And also, Ademola Lookman. Just give him the trophy now. If anything happens other than Ademola Lookman, we will revolt to Cairo. Is it Cairo or
we will get to Marrakesh by force. Morocco, no, they can't. We will get to Calf Glass House, Morocco, every glass house. Among even the top 10, is the favorite without any doubt.
Yes.
In fact, he's preparing for next year.
Absolutely.
You guys are already giving him a double, not winning the first one.
When was the last time Nigeria won back-to-back? It was Kano. So now we need to make it a hat-trick. But wait, let's win this one first.
Yeah, super interesting. Let's start with the AFCON qualifiers. Nigeria would be up against Benin Republic. The Eagles were emphatic in the first leg of that game in Uyo. And this time around, the top guns are also making the list. Osimhen is making a return. Lookman still in the mix. Victor Boniface. You want to say we have a good squad, but this game would be played at the Felix Ahidjo Stadium in Abidjan.
Well, we've always had a good squad. I'll say it again, Nigeria have the best squad in Africa. Unfortunately, team has been the major challenge for them. And it feels like under Aguabon, they've been finding ways to balance. In fact, the games they didn't score, they seem to even play better in terms of team than the ones they scored 3 against Benin Republic. So they need to send message to Benin Republic again that thing you did at the World Cup qualifiers, you will receive more 3 in the first leg. Maybe you don't just beat them this time around, but knowing a draw will be enough. I hope that doesn't affect how the players will think, letting them know that we are still the best team in this group stage. You win that game and finish top of the group. All the best to them in that match. We are both playing away from home, which should be a big advantage for Nigeria. So let's see how far they can go. Me is just, I hope the players don't start coming in late to camp like they normally do. This time the game will be on Thursday. It means there's no room for you come on Wednesday to play on Friday. No. Camp opens on Monday. You have to resume on Monday.
And Farouk?
Honestly, it's a perfect opportunity for us to also, get back that win. The last time we met them in Abidjan, we scored first and conceded 2 in the World Cup qualifier. And that is why our qualification is still hanging by the thread. But we have to also show that we are the biggest side in this group. We're already comfortable with 10 points. Just a victory or even a draw set us all for the Nations Cup. But I just feel that the guys are getting better, and also the experience of Libya can also make them come better together, honestly, because things like that change the focus of the team. And I feel that Ogwabon is also doing a fantastic job. Like he said, we have been playing our best football in recent time. Unfortunately, the last time I also played our best football was under Osugwabon. I just feel that the luck will come with it at this point in time. I can't see our guys, win by at least not less than but probably 2 or 3 goals, because Benin should not be a threat to us any time. Just win well, and they will come back to Nigeria and celebrate the qualification proper.
Bolu, as far as I'm concerned, the ticket for the AFCON for the next year's AFCON is already in the kitty. Even with an eyes closed, Nigeria is already playing at the next AFCON in Morocco. But the focus now is the World Cup qualifiers. The next quarter, the first quarter of 2025, we have 6 games that we must win emphatically and pray something happens to other teams.
Well, one of the things I said after the whole World Cup drama and the AFCON game was do well in the AFCON qualifier, send a message to everybody that we are back. We are still the best in Africa. And so far, so good. It's been working well for them. If they can even win the next 2 games, we are still playing these same nations in the World Cup qualifiers. It means to send shivers down to their spine. And the good news is, all those guys above Nigeria, Rwanda, Benin, South Africa, they are still going to play each other, which is positive for them. It means even if you can't win all away, Nigeria will play 3 games at home, win the 3 games at home, and try to avoid loss away from home. Let those guys also beat themselves. Nigeria can still qualify. It's harder, it's tougher, but it's something very doable. On paper, Nigeria can still beat these guys home and away, including South Africa, but they need to start well from the opening game. If they win the first 2 matches, it means it tells everybody we are back. And believe me, Nigerians will support the Super Eagles when they start fighting back for the World Cup tickets.
And Farouk?
Well, I think it's true. Look at the maths, in the past. We have 6 games left, and the teams above us are playing them directly, and they're still playing themselves. All we just have to do is win our next 4-5 games. It put us up, at the top of the table. And I feel that with the new sheriff in town now, I don't know atmosphere in camp. I think that we are primed, to qualify for the World Cup. But it started from the Nations Cup first, and the Nations Cup qualification quite well, and then let us look into New Year as a team that is ready to go all the way. Our ranking has improved, our team play has improved, we score more goals now, and also we're also very solid defensively. So I feel that everything is well poised for us to just qualify well for the Nations Cup and also get into the mix as far as World Cup is concerned.
Yes, at the other side of the show, we're looking at the English Premier League. Several key fixtures lined up this weekend. Remember, the marquee game for the weekend, Chelsea is up against Arsenal. You want to say Chelsea? What's up with Chelsea? Last weekend, they played against Man United, and this weekend, they will be looking on against another top side in Arsenal Football Club.
Nivea Dry Deodorant with 72-hour reliable odor protection from Dual Effect Formula for a dry and fresh skin feeling that gives you confidence every day. Nivea Dry is now available in 25 ml for 72-hour odor and sweat protection.
It's time to talk the English Premier League. We're looking at fixtures going down this weekend. Man City hasn't been as consistent as many would have expected, especially in the first half of the season. They've lost their last 3 games in all competition, and this weekend they will be up against another boogie team in Brighton.
Well, Man City need a win, and they need it now. Incidentally, they're also playing Brighton, who have lost back-to-back to this Premier League leaders, Liverpool. Brighton are one of the teams that can threaten you any day, anytime, especially at the Amex Stadium. This is probably the time you have to pity Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. But one thing Haaland can do well, they've lost 3 straight games in different competitions. Now he can come up this weekend and score overhead kick or score 1 hat-trick, and boom, City are back on track. They need to keep pace with Liverpool, who also have a tough fixture, but they have to do their assignment first. And beating Brighton away from home is definitely going to be a tall order. Both of them will probably get on discussion, but for a win, I think it will be a huge task and a huge ask for Manchester City.
Still with an interim gaffer, Man United will be up against Leicester City.
Well, I think United...
Remember, just last week, you defeated the same City, Leicester City side at the League Cup.
Second string side. But
yes.
I think that United would fancy a win against the Leicester side, who are not the best of side in the Premier League. They are very close to the lower bottom of the table. Van Nistelrooy is going to be his final game. And I think the reception, his performance, his ability to also ginger the players has shown, in the last 2 games he played, especially against City, where the force from the start to the finish. I feel that United should get a victory against Leicester in this game. Fernandes is back scoring. The boys up front are not scoring, but I just feel that this is a victory for United, whether they like it or not. But one thing is for sure, the man that will take over should be somewhere at Old Trafford, also watching that match and say, welcome to United, talking about a coach, Amorim.
Farouk, Amorim defeated City in the Champions League with the same Sporting side. We saw the farewell, how much his players serenaded him. How confident are you in his ability? Remember, the kind of pressure expected you would get at United is not obtainable at Sporting.
I think I've listened to the guys' interview as well too. he already knows exactly what is expected from him at United. People are comparing him that he just needs to move his formation to United. And I told them with that case to listen that, see, the job at Sporting is quite different from what he's going to do here. We will not say because he plays the same way with Sporting and bring the same formation here. We will need to work with the players first, know exactly how they're going to play, but I feel that the guy has got something about him that is different. Everyone was winning at home one was so comfortable and it's also sure about his own ability. But United are a different team entirely. They have brought Luis Van Gaal. There was a time it was Mourinho. These are world-class players, are coaches, and United made them look as if they are second-class.
United are cost.
So I wouldn't say that.
But one other thing I want us to look at, Bolu, there is this trend of top clubs now going for coaches naturally doesn't command that kind of clout when it comes to global football. Remember what Liverpool did? We thought maybe we were expecting one top gun, one big name, but they just went for a manager who seems to be doing the job. Same applicable to Chelsea, and now United seems to be following suit.
Well, I think teams are going over older managers.
Yes.
Look at Ancelotti had to say
there seems to be a transition.
Yep, Real Madrid will likely be his final job. Mourinho had to go to Turkey, and he's spoken about coming to England, but if he's coming to England, I don't think any elite team
would want him.
Mourinho, maybe a lower cadet team. So I think everyone is moving away from that generation. Real Madrid are talking about Alonso, Chelsea, like Riley said, for Enzo Maresca, and Slot for Liverpool. So teams are moving away. See, German national team. Some players are older than the man. They are talking about Nagelsmann. So it's a generational thing. In the next 10, 20 years, these same managers will be the ones in their 40s, in their 50s that will be talking about, when they were young. And after that, the likes of SCN who just got his coaching license, this next generation would also take. So I think it's a generational shift. Check out when all these managers were coaches. So many of them started in their 40s. So it's a generation. So I think we are just moving away from all those managers with grey hair. But these ones, in the next 5 years, many of them will either go bald or go grey.
Let's talk about Bolu, stay with you. Liverpool playing Aston Villa.
That's a very, very tough and exciting game to be. Unai Emery, the last 3 results have not been favorable for Aston Villa, especially in England. And here is Liverpool, who are top of the Premier League. They left the top a fortnight ago. The last week, they went back to top of the table. And Anfield is the only place they've lost a game in the Premier League this season. Now they're taking on a Liverpool who are very, very threatening attacking-wise. Oli Watkins can wake up today. Duran can be the guy to do it next tomorrow. The guys in the midfield, almost all of them can shoot, including Yuri Tillman. So it's going to be tough and interesting. But one thing Slot has done well is he makes a few changes to his lineup based on his opposition. Let's see who the change will be this time. And I think Liverpool are still favorites, but it's going to be tough. Aston Villa can threaten them. And if there's a team that can pick at least a point at Anfield, I think you can call them Aston Villa.
Farouk, we foresee a titanic battle. Chelsea up against Arsenal.
Well, it's going to be huge. London derby, always very, very interesting between these two sides. And the last 3 games that Chelsea have lost this year happens to be against Arsenal, Man City, as well as Liverpool. And those are the top guys at the top of the league right about now. But for Chelsea, I think they have settled quite well. And they're also playing against an Arsenal side that are not where they want to be. Odegaard might be back for this weekend's game. There's still several injuries among the team, and also they're not playing like that's now we saw last season. They are conceding a lot of goals now, and I don't know even scoring enough. But for Chelsea, I think they always dominate their opponent. We saw that against United. They could have won, they could have lost as well too. But I think that Chelsea have got that new belief in them. Even those games they have lost this season in the Premier League, they seem to play quite well than their opponents in City as well as Liverpool. But it's going to be a big game when you are playing in London derby, especially City and Chelsea and Arsenal. Form is not always important, but at the same time, we always say that we want to see the best of football. I feel that Chelsea. Why do I keep saying City?
Yes.
you're calling the champions.
Yes, you're calling the champions. Yes, it's understandable.
But I think Chelsea will not lose this match. I'll be picking Chelsea win or a draw.
Yes, plenty of fixtures lined up. Remember, we just touched on the key games. There are several other games lined up in the English Premier League this weekend. But at the other side, we'll be talking the La Liga. Some games also, mouth-watering games. Real Madrid on the card, as well as Barcelona and Atletico de Madrid.
Nivea Dry Deodorant with 72-hour reliable odor protection from Dual Effect Formula for a dry and fresh skin feeling that gives you confidence every day. Nivea Dry is now available in 25 ml for 72-hour odor and sweat protection.
Yes, welcome back. It's time to talk the La Liga. It is believed that Real Madrid should be able to turn the corners this weekend. They will be playing at home against Osasuna.
Well, finally, I think Real Madrid should do enough to pick up 3 points. They've lost back-to-back at the Bernabeu, 4-0 thrashing to Barcelona in the Clásico in La Liga, then losing again to AC Milan in the Champions League at the same venue. Rafael Leao had a field day. But I think it's time for Ancelotti to make a hard call to rest some players. But if you're thinking Mbappe is the man I'm talking about, you thought wrong. There's no manager in the world that will have him kill Mbappe and put him on the bench. But I think they will need to win this time around. Unfortunately, they're playing away. But fortunately for them, it's Osasuna. They should still do enough to pick all 3 points. If Real Madrid fail to win against Osasuna, Ancelotti, I think you should start packing your bag.
Sociedad up against Barcelona. Who can stop this flick man from flicking things?
Well, honestly, it's going to be Barcelona themselves. I look at the statistics. They played 15 games this season, and they have kept their opponent 99 times at the offside. So that means that they have a style of play. Or high up the pitch. Make sure you put your opponent, at offside all the time. And they also score a lot of goals. Players that are not performing in the past are now the key man. The team, Olmo, whatever that guy is, I don't know. He does not get that high. He's a fantastic player at any time. Yes, so that are also playing a very good football in Spain. But when you have a Barcelona side that have only lost just once and have scored countless of goals everywhere from the field of play, I think they have favorite to win this match. But always feel that Sociedad will give them a trade, but Barcelona in the end should win this match conveniently.
Atletico Madrid on the road against Mallorca.
Another very good. I think there's a cost on the capital clubs this time around. The last month has been terrible for both Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid locally and on the continent. In the same month as when Real Madrid have lost 2 Champions League games, losing Clásico. Same month for Atletico Madrid as well, dropping points away from home. But they picked themselves up last weekend, and I think the form is going to continue for them again this time. Mallorca are also terrible in terms of they can cause you problems. But I still believe Atletico should do enough to win this match.
Yes, interesting games are lined up in the Serie A this weekend. We're also looking at other fixtures. Villarreal will be at home against Alaves, to be Espanyol against Valencia. Leganes will file out against Sevilla. Not to forget, Real Betis will be at home against Vigo, and Getafe will lock horns against Girona, while Valladolid will be at home against Athletic Club. The fixtures lined up in the La Liga this weekend. At the other side, we'll be looking at the Serie A. Remember, it is now the show of Ademola Lookman as far as the Serie A is concerned. Napoli will hope to turn the corners when Inter Milan comes calling this weekend in the Italian Serie A. Still fresh in our memory is how Ademola Lookman decimated the side at the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium just last weekend. This weekend, they would be filing out against an Inter side that also needs to win, Bolu.
That has to be a tough call. This game has not been this important for a while. A win for Inter Milan takes them to the top of the table. Avoid a loss, Napoli remained at the top of the table. The loss last weekend to Ademola Lookman will definitely haunt them. Lookman felt like, oh wow, you're on an unbeaten run. We need to take you out. This time around, it's going to be very, very tough for them against Inter Milan. Both of them should get on the score sheet in this one, but it's at the Giuseppe Meazza Stadium, which makes it even more tougher for Napoli. I don't see where Napoli will get a win from this game. The best they may get will be a draw, but if you think Inter Milan are picking up 3 points, I don't think you thought wrong.
Cagliari will be playing AC Milan at home.
Well, AC Milan can just draw inspiration from the last game against Milan in the Champions League. Yes, they've been very terrible in the Serie A, but a big side in AC Milan will always be a big side. And Cagliari too are not that, doing that well in the Serie A. So for me, the guys just need to draw that inspiration, continue, chasing the leading pack, the likes of Atalanta, Inter Milan, Juventus, as well as the Napoli who sit top the league. So I feel that it's a victory for AC Milan this fixture against Cagliari. 2
Nigerians will file out against themselves this weekend when Atlanta lock horns against Udinese. We have our own Maduka Okoye as the #1 goalkeeper for Udinese, and Ademola Lookman will not say, this is my Naija boy, I can put 3-4 past you, Polo.
Well, I hope Okoye used to keep in training.
Yes.
Because he will just be reminiscing, hey, this guy don't show again. Because Lookman would like to get on the score sheet. The last 2 fixtures have not been good enough for Udinese. If you're like the one they played last week in the midweek where they led 2-0 and ended up conceding 3 in that match. Ademola Lookman is angry. Ademola Lookman is vexing. It's so much that people are saying he probably should have gone up or higher in the Ballon d'Or or ranking. It shows everyone is seeing the things he's doing. I'm sure Atalanta will be the happiest thing for keeping him. You remember there was the time they put him on the bench due to the transfer saga. He came back the first game, he started scoring, and he's still been unstoppable so far. If you're looking for the key man in this game or for the club as a whole, he has to be Ademola Lookman. Okoye, sorry, we love you. But it feels like this time you will collect seriously.
And Juve up against Torino, Farouk.
It's a Turin derby. Both teams are staying in the same place, very close to each other. And Juventus is one team that I cannot even predict. During the midweek, they played out a 1-0 draw against Lille. They dominated that match so much. But this time around, they're playing back at home. A team that was not conceded before, almost incidentally conceded 6 in 2 games. What are they going to be doing against a team that knows them inside and outside? But because they are chasing the leading pack, I think Juventus are always the bigger brother out there in Turin. So I feel that they should win. And also, the striker, Dusan Vlahovic, is also doing quite well for himself now. I think they will win this match against the Torino.
We are also doing a quick breather at this time. And when we return, we'll be rounding off with the Bundesliga. Some interesting games also lined up. A reminder that Leverkusen were annihilated in the Champions League just in the course of the week. Hopefully, they will be able to turn the corners this weekend. Yes, it is match day 10 in the German Bundesliga. Games expected this weekend. Leverkusen wasn't a good one for them in the Champions League. Hopefully, they should be able to turn the corners as far as the league is concerned. It will be Mainz up against Dortmund this weekend.
The most unpredictable team probably in world football with Borussia Dortmund. They can lead 3-0 and still end up losing. But away to Mainz is going to be a very tough one for Dortmund. I don't trust Dortmund any day, anytime. Even if they are playing at home against, against the City, I still do not trust Dortmund against any opposition. But away to Mainz, I think it's going to be very tough for them. If you are sure of your money, I think the best probably be, let's say, a double chance for Dortmund. Mainz can win against them. Mainz can get a draw. But Dortmund, it's hard to predict them. But I think they will try and avoid loss against Mainz this time.
St. Pauli up against Bayern.
Well, there's only one result, Harry Kane's team. This guy, nobody is talking about him. I don't know why. I don't know when he's going to get that recognition he deserves. Talking about Harry Kane. He has scored more goals than the number of games has played entirely for Bayern Munich, and also something like that this season. They have been scoring goals aplenty, and I think they will do that as well too. It's just about how many goals are they going to put past a St. Pauli side. Jamal Musiala is still there. The midfielder Kimmich are also playing quite well. So for me, it's a straight win for Bayern Munich. It's going to be very, very low, the hold. But if you want to spice it up, if you want to bet on that, can also suit Bayern Munich to win both half. And this first half and second half, the odds will go a bit up.
Bochum up against Leverkusen.
Leverkusen needs to get back to winning ways. They have to. Well, the good news for them is that
it's beginning to look like a season, like last year was a flash.
It feels like it's not working for them. They started well again this season.
I won't agree it's a flash.
Yes.
I think they have found them out.
Yeah,
they are still winning.
I feel so.
Not as consistent.
I feel so.
And all those times you go behind, they find a way to avoid. They tried it again. In fact, the first match they lost, they led 2-0. And they don't losing this time around. Well, good news for them. Boniface is back, even though he was back in the Champions League as well. But the result was not back for them. But I think they would do enough to win against Bochum. But it's going to be very, very tough. And let me add what Farouk to spice it up. Maybe Victor Boniface will get a discussion.
Yes, interesting. Farouk, before we sign out, let's talk about the incident that made the rounds in the course of the week. Former Real Madrid player Marcelo, the incident with his coach, and now the club has sent him packing. What will you make of such arrogance?
It's disappointing, honestly. There's one player that I love so much. It's Marcelo, for every good reason. He's a perfect professional. He's dedicated to his craft. He's very good on the ball, defensively and also offensively. For him to do that at Fluminense, a boyhood club that he feels support,
yes,
it shows that this player at times they lose it. They're human as well. You might be feeling that they're bigger than the club, 5 Champions League, Real Madrid here and there. At the point in time, always in the top level of the world football. But now, just accept that the coach is always the main man in every situation. He lost that, and his contract was terminated duly. I just hope that we learn from that. But there's nothing that you're going to take away from his career. It's always going to be Marcelo that we know for the right reasons.
Bolu, there were reports in Brazil that he happens to be the most hated player in the team. That he doesn't relate with the younger player. He feels he should be worshipped. He should be seen like a small god in the team. And other players who were open to learn from him felt his arrogance were becoming one they could no longer condole, and it created some level of bad blood in between the team, according to reports in Brazil.
I would love to even know what really happened behind the scene, because after I saw the video, it made absolutely no sense. For the coach telling you things to do on the field of play, you don't even have to do what the coach says, but get on the field and do what you want to do, not disagreeing with him and saying, no, the coach, go push it. So I would love to know if there is more to that scene than what we saw on the field of play. It would have been better for it to have just retired. Toni Kroos retired younger. You don't have to play to this age when it now becomes embarrassing and people start calling your career to question. What did he even do, Seth? That's where you hear conversations like that. I don't know if you would still probably go back to Saudi Arabia to make money there or step down, but sometimes it's best to step down where the innovation is loudest. And that's why you have to give kudos to the likes of Zidane, the likes of Toni Kroos, the likes of even Alonso. Sometimes it's better to stop early than to go through embarrassment.
And yes, we just hope that the young man is able to find the corners and maybe go to Saudi Arabia and end his career with the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo. That's the size of the show for today, Farouk.
Well, interesting times always when we are here together. Hopefully, we have another joyous weekend where I feel United should be winning their final game before going for international break. And
Bolu, we're gradually building up to the end of the year.
I would have disagreed with Farouk, but remember one of my predictions is for Man United to win. So on that one, I would agree with at least let all of us that we do poorly get to win again. We are building up to the end of the year. Christmas is smelling on the 60 days to Christmas. And of course, international break is almost here. I'm sure by the time we come back next week, the Super Eagles will have qualified for that.
And I would like to also remind a bit of you that for any plans you have to go stay in America, Donald Trump is now in charge. Donald Trump is now in charge.
He can't stop us.
We are going to the Olympics.
Yes, absolutely. That's the size of the show for today. We'll see you next week. Bye for now, guys.